So, when I'm pacing, it's because I'm scared to speak. That started at Jamie Curtis's years ago, over a decade ago. Um, she was my best friend, and I asked her out, and she said yes. She was only the second woman ever to say yes. Now, just because somebody says yes to going out on a date doesn't make you boyfriend and girlfriend. And I understand this. After I asked her out, I went to Miss Jerry's house in Fort Collins, and Miss Jamie came to see me there. And Uncle Mike, that's Mike Vernon, he told me, dude, she's shooting the pussy out of cannon at you. Like, all right, Uncle Mike, that doesn't make any sense at all. That was the first time I realized how messed up women can get when they feel rejected. How mean they can get. See, we went back to Miss Jamie's in Chapel, Nebraska, and I tried to cook some Chinese food. I did not do a very good job. She came out and she kissed me on the forehead and told me she was going to bed. And then the next morning, she came out and explained to me that when a woman does that, it means that they want to get laid. Well, she never kissed me on the forehead again. When I kiss somebody on the forehead, which isn't very often, it's because I want them to feel loved. I'm not interested in sex. But with Jamie, she, after I asked her out, I mean, she changed 180 degrees. She started snapping at me about everything. Like, literally, I couldn't do anything right, and I was trying to understand what I had done wrong. And years later, she explained to me that, well, she's very pretty, you know? She'd never been rejected by a man before. I wasn't trying to reject her, I didn't know what was up. And apparently, according to her, I rejected her over 30 times. I didn't mean to. Most of the time, she was drunk, or she would do things that I didn't understand because I never been in that situation before. Like, she'd tickle me. I hate being tickled. You can ask Amanda and Lana Ingline about that. I hate it. But people do the meanest things when they're scared. And oftentimes they don't intend to. They're scared, you know? I'm scared. When I'm pacing, it's because I've been snapped at a lot, and I already know that the person who's snapping at me isn't going to hear a word I have to say because I tried and they snapped at me. With Jamie, I tried to explain what was going on. I tried explaining that I was autistic. I just didn't want to tell her I was autistic. I didn't want her treating me like I was a retard. So I explained to her that I don't take hints, and she told me, well, Sean, you're going to have a hard time then because a woman who tells a man straight up that she wants to have sex with him is a whore. Well, she proceeded to tell quite a few men that she was going to have sex with them right in front of me. Talk about emotional turmoil. She did it because she felt rejected. And it hurt her. And she wanted me to feel hurt. Now, that wasn't the last time that I experienced that. I experienced that with Crystal Beauchamp. I took her to her house 3 times. 3. I escorted her home. The first time I escorted her home, she was mean to me for a couple of weeks after that, and then she just kind of forgot about it. Sort of, because she started going out with somebody. The second time, same thing. I can't remember if it was the first or second time. She puked in the bushes, and I walked her to her door, and a gentleman don't cross the threshold. So I stayed outside, and she wanted me to kiss her. She still had puke hanging off of her chin. Some of you guys might have paid attention to the stories that I've told before. Crystal Beauchamp was raped by the Boulder Police Department. Literally raped by an officer in the Boulder Police Department. They hauled her off when she tried to tell on them. And injected her with drugs, same way as they did to me. See, officers cover for other officers. Most street people are too afraid to cover for other street people. They're too afraid to be honest when it comes to other street people going through that. With Jamie, after she felt rejected, for me, trying to speak to her was scary. Very scary. I didn't know it was wrong. I just knew that no matter what I did, it was wrong. This was my best friend, and now she's not my best friend anymore, and I didn't know what I had done. So I decided after that I wasn't gonna ask my best friend out again, no matter who it was. I wasn't gonna go through that again. At Shannon Alvarado's, with her screaming at her boyfriend all the time. Not all the time. She didn't do it 24 hours a day or anything like that. Like some nights when she was drunk, she was a happy drunk. But I stayed in that room most of the time because I was scared. I didn't get much done because I was scared. When I was there in Montana streaming on that video, I was fucking scared shitless. And when she called me, she shouldn't have called me because she was drunk and she was going to talk over me no matter what. I was screaming because I needed somebody to listen to me, not somebody to talk over me. And a lot of people don't understand that I might need a couple of moments before I can speak. If you ask me a question, I may not be able to answer it immediately. I may need a whole minute, you know? And after listening to people argue and fight, you know, it may take me an hour or two to calm down, if not more. And if that fighting's still going on outside of the door, the timer doesn't start until the screaming stops. So I needed Shannon to understand that. Instead of getting mad at me for exposing it or for saying it, I needed her to try to understand it. When I didn't have sex with Lana up there in Montana, and she was the way that she was after that, I already knew what to expect out of her. It wasn't the first time that I'd rejected a woman. I already know what I'm going to go through because of experiences. Now, the positive experiences, I don't get those. I don't. I've never had a girlfriend. Well, that's not true. That's not. I asked a woman named Angela Kurzmal when I was up in Montana this year. I asked her to be my girlfriend for one night because she lived in Colorado and I was up in Montana, and I didn't want to die without ever having a girlfriend. So she was my girlfriend for one night. In name only, but still, it's the sentiment of it. There's a hierarchy to human society. At Lana Inglines, Lana is the boss, so you do what she wants or you lose your footing, you lose your place. At a house like that, you have the dominant and you have the subservient. And the subservient do as the dominant says. They want to please the person who is the most dominant. That's why most of the women that I know, they can leave a man who beats them and go out with a decent dude for a week or so. But they usually go right back to their abuser, right back to that dominant male. At Shannon's, she's the roof holder. She's the one who gets to decide who leaves and who stays. Rick is the subservient. I was the subservient. And my dad's, he's the boss. He gets to decide who leaves and who stays. He's the dominant. Diane's subservient. Dana's subservient. And I'm subservient. At Ken and Leah's, Ken is sort of the dominant one, but Leah owns him. She owns him emotionally the way that Jamie owned me emotionally. So, although he's the breadwinner, she is the dominant one. So Ken is subservient, and I am subservient, and Leah's son is subservient, and Dawn Bird is subservient. What Leah says goes. So that's the reason that I wanted to talk to Ken one-on-one about my money. Ken was the one handling it, not Leah. He's the one that I needed to speak to, and I needed to speak to him one-on-one. But he didn't want to do that, because he'd already spent it. He was supposed to pay me back on the 8th of December, but he didn't. And on the 26th of December, I left, after being assaulted by Dawn Bird, and being threatened and screamed at by Ken and Dawn and Leah all at the same time. Normally, I wouldn't consider pushing somebody assault. But when somebody's disabled, when somebody's got back issues like I do, then it is assault. And what Dawn Bird did was assault. People do the meanest things when they're scared. Me, I'm scared. I'm scared because people can do whatever they want to me whenever they want. And I'm not allowed to do anything about it. I just have to take it. At Shannon Alvarado's, I just had to take it. It wasn't directed at me, so it should be alright. That's how a lot of you guys think. It doesn't matter who's being abused. It doesn't matter who's being yelled at. It hurts me. And it hurts me to the point that I yell back. When I was at Shannon's house, I didn't yell back. I just took it. I kept hoping that she would listen, that she would stop getting drunk and talking over me, because that's how drunks operate. I've dealt with a lot of drunks, a lot of alcoholics, a lot of people on meth, a lot of people on heroin.
But I don't do those things. So I'm kind of at odds with those people. At the same time, I still care about those people. Is that because I'm stupid? No, it's because they're human beings still.